All right, Collective Podcasting, Episode 3, Jerry.
Absolutely. Episode 3 is here with you, with the viewers right here.
We had a great reception to the last week's episode, which was about Change the Channel and Channel Awesome stuff. A lot of people
For
talking
once,
about
I actually
it.
didn't want to change the channel.
Yeah, we're doing really good on people talking about it, viewership and stuff. And just continue listening to it. Today's episode is going to be a little different.
Yes.
I'm just going to briefly talk about something that happened. Happened this week of the taping. We interviewed Chris Marciante of Guerrilla Revolutions, where we talked about Halloween, the movie, upcoming Halloween, which one's the best, which one he likes. We talked about Star Trek.
Yes.
And we talked about his new film that's coming out, The Last Laugh.
Such a great conversation we had with him.
Right.
We were talking for about, a half hour with him?
Half an hour about just stuff. And as much as he tried to trigger me about Halloween and Star Trek, I didn't let in.
What a big man you are, Chris.
But before we get to the interview, I just want to say, at the week of this taping, Bruno Sammartino,
unfortunately,
the famous wrestler, passed away. He was, I think, 82. And the reason why I'm making it significant is that I used to hear stories about him as a kid from my mom telling me about him wrestling and stuff, and what a great Italian he was, representing the Italian community. And I listened to his interview on Chris Jericho's podcast, and it was such a great story of how he went from almost dying in the mountains of Italy to coming here and becoming world champion for 12 years.
He's an icon, to say the least. Yeah. And you're talking to someone who doesn't even watch wrestling. Mm-hmm. Just his name around the wrestling industry has shown him to be such a legendary figure for the sport.
And that singer died too.
The singer.
Who is?
Avicii, unfortunately passed.
Yeah, he passed too. You're more of the music.
Yes. When Avicii passed, he died 28, and that was yesterday. Such an unfortunate tragedy. He was such a talent to the electronic genre, the community at large that way, and he definitely made his impact throughout the roots on it. So, God bless to him, and best wishes to his family and friends.
And real quick, just talk about what happened with the airlines. That happened this week. The one person, unfortunately. Yeah, one person died, and I think they said the rare thing.
Why are we
that happened.
talking about dying so much?
I know, right? Well. We're going to be talking about living soon. But,
yes, and we're gonna make sure you're that much more inspired to live for the Chris Marciante interview.
Oh, yeah. But that airlines, Jerry, what'd you think about that?
It's one of those stories that you hear of, and you don't even know how to put it into words when something so bizarre happens, and just to have one person pass away when everyone else lives, it kind of makes you all, especially in that moment, appreciate life for what it is.
And we're going to appreciate life coming up. We're going to segue into the Chris Marciante interview of Guerrilla Revolutions. It was a great interview, and we're going to cut right to it. So, hey! All right, everybody. Here is our special guest. Jerry's excited. I'm excited. Our special guest is the one, the only, Joe Valenti.
Woo!
No, I'm just kidding. It's my good friend, filmmaker, the head honcho of Guerrilla Revolutions, the director of the upcoming movie Last Laugh, writer of the film that we're doing, Chris Marciante.
Hello. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, no problem. That was a great intro. No. So Chris, so what's going on? We were just recording something for one of your skits that you were doing.
Yeah, we just did some voiceover work for a little short that's going to come out called Satan is Mingle. And I appreciate you guys' help with that. But right now, Last Laugh is in post-production. We're going to have the premiere coming up in May. And I'm excited for it.
So for Last Laugh, like how long has that been? I know it's been going on for a couple of years.
Oh man, it's been a real tough, grueling process. It's technically actually been 2 years we've been working on this damn film. I can't wait to get it out, and I'm getting tired of killer clowns.
When was the last time you laughed during the film?
I don't remember.
It was the last time that you laughed. No, but yeah. But so when did you start shooting? Nice laugh.
We initially started in 2015 with a different cast and a different DP and stuff like that, and we basically had to go back and reshoot like almost everything last year in the summer of 2017, and we did a majority of the film in a 6-day stint, which was pretty cool to bang out an entire 48-page script.
That's not an easy task, I could tell you that.
No, not at all. You know, as I said before, you never know what roadblock you're going to hit. You never know what's going to happen on set. If people bail out, the actors don't show up, or a location's not exactly what you want, or, you know, you're missing props, or anything can go wrong. You know, Murphy's Law, basically.
Anything that will go wrong. That can go wrong.
Will go wrong. Yeah, absolutely, especially on set.
So with the actors, so you had 2 sets. So did you have to like fire, or they just didn't decide that they didn't want to do it anymore?
With the original cast, we had some bailouts. People just dropped, like, signed on to the project, were gung ho about it, and then as we got leading up to shooting, they just fell off the face of the earth. So we had to scramble and like recast a lot of the main lead roles, especially my lead actor James Donahue, who plays James the detective in the film. Basically, I had a different actor in place. His name was Randy, and I don't want to throw him under the bus too much, but basically he was a SAG actor, and I told him I had no problem compensating him for his time, but we couldn't go through SAG on this project, and I wanted him to, you know, just waive the SAG so we can get it done, and he didn't want to do it. And literally about 4 days before we had to shoot, I had to recast it, so I had to scramble and find a new actor, and within 4 days we recasted. So
I have to give you credit for that, though, because think of it this way: it's very tough when you're doing a production, especially on an independent level, and then you're trying to assess who are the best actors for it. You're going to assume SAG is going to have the best resume of people. So when you have that internal conflict based on where you are in the budget and then where things are aligned, just things don't work out for a reason. So there's times I can't blame you, but also at the same time, I give you a lot of credit for adapting.
no, I appreciate that. I mean, I guess that's one part of being a good director. You have to be able to adapt to any situation, because you never know what's going to get thrown you, especially in the indie scene, because, you know, anything can happen.
Did you have SAG actors in this?
No, not for this particular project. We're open for SAG in the future, but this one, it was just, you know, the budget couldn't sustain it. It's a really low indie, you know, micro.
It's like super micro.
Yeah, so we couldn't do it.
So what was the influence for Last Laugh?
Last Laugh was initially going to be a different film. I actually wasn't going to make Last Laugh. I was going to make a film called The Farm Colony, which was based off the urban legend of Cropsey. I actually showcased a scene that you guys came to that premiere back, Cinematic Uprising. What was that?
Yeah.
What year was that? I don't even know.
Oh, that was
2014?
2015.
Was it 15?
Yeah,
Oh.
it was 2015.
So I was gonna make that film, The Farm Colony, based on the Cropsey urban legend. I was personally like hell bent on making this film. It was like a slasher homage film with this like Cropsey maniac. But after revisiting it months later, because I actually hand wrote the script with that particular film. It was like in like 5 or 6 different like notebooks, back and forth. I was like, this film is cool, but it's so generic. We've seen this 100 times. Like the kids, they go on the hunt for the killer and then they get killed, and I just, you know, I wanted to do something different. And one day I was literally just driving with a couple friends of mine, and an idea popped in my head, and I was like, hey, you guys want to shoot something? And they were like, well, what's the idea? I was like, what if there's this like drug addict, and he's like hallucinating, and he's not sure if he sees a clown that's after him, or if the clown is actually in his head, or if it's the drug, or if it's an actual guy. And they're like, yeah, so why don't you write a script? And I was like, I should write a script. So I wound up writing the script, and a little 5-minute short turned into a 48-page film.
So was there any influences with this? You know where I'm going with that.
I mean,
3 hours later.
there's definitely obviously a Carpenter influence. There's no question. You know, Halloween is obviously one of my favorite films of all time. Especially, it's one of the biggest independent films, horror films that became successful. The clown is actually a little bit influenced off Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal. I always thought he was a cool character, and I always wanted to see like that type of story in a film. So those are definitely two major influences: Halloween and Sweet Tooth.
So there is no like Rob Zombie influence.
There's no Rob Zombie influence whatsoever. As much as I love Rob Zombie, he's a great filmmaker. Although I hate his remakes of Halloween.
Oh, well,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to Halloween soon. Yeah.
There is no Rob Zombie influence in the film, not at all.
Well, which is the joke always between you and me is I always call you Rob Zombie. I don't know why, just because maybe the gore factor or the blood or whatever, but I don't know. You always just remind me of Rob Zombie. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know.
I guess. I rather consider myself closer to Carpenter. Or
yeah, me too.
By the beard?
No.
No, just in the style of filmmaking, and like Halloween was definitely a major influence on me becoming a filmmaker in general.
So,
like a lot of independent filmmakers.
So are you excited about the new one? New Halloween's coming out?
You're not gonna like my response, but yes and no. I'm excited. The nostalgia factor. I want to see a new Halloween. Who doesn't? But I'm tired of the new Hollywood trend where they're doing these alt sequels. I think that's retarded. I think that's stupid. And I think we've seen enough of like Halloween. It was done. Like the first one's perfect on its own. We revisited again with the second one. The second one was a tight sequel, and like to me, that's the quintessential Halloween. Like even just the first one's perfect in itself, but like we didn't need to go past that. And as you've seen, they tried to do the anthology thing. 3 was good. It's just not a good Michael Myers. Michael Myers not in it.
No, I really like 3. Like really, that's an influence too with Black Sun was 3 and 6. But we don't want to get into that one because everybody yells at me about Halloween 6. My love for it.
I mean, Halloween 4, 5, and 6 I do like too, but I don't think they're necessary. But they're definitely the last of the good ones, I would say, because what do you have after that? You have H2O.
I felt like they needed a resurrection.
They needed resurrection? I hated resurrection with a passion. Why?
It's because of Busta Rhymes. Jerry's
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Yeah, Jerry's a big Busta Rhymes fan. Just.
I mean, I like Busta Rhymes too, but that movie was heart trash. Like.
And then we have the 2 Rob Zombie ones, which I don't.
This is like religion versus politics.
Oh no! Like me and Chris like worship the ground of Halloween so much that we get into arguments all the time, especially over Rob Zombie films.
So let me take over this interview for both of you.
Okay.
The longest Halloween argument aside from this interview.
Between me and Chris?
Yes.
Probably 30 minutes.
You really think 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think we argued for about 30 minutes.
I'm so glad I'm here so I can test the waters right now.
Well, okay, so Halloween 1, and then you have Halloween 2, which is one whole movie. And then 4, 5, and 6 it's more of a, wouldn't you agree with me, it's more of like a pick your journey type thing where it's like...
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, it has that like old Goosebumps book feel where you can pick which way you want to go, but like again, like I feel like they told the story in the first Halloween. It was perfect the way it was. Like you didn't really need to revisit it. But like with the second one, I accept it because it's like you just said, it continues right where they left off. But when you have Halloween's 4 through 6, you're kind of taking away that mystique and that force of nature, and you're grounding him into something too human. And I didn't like the route that they went with that.
Yeah, like
the Cult of the Thorn and stuff like. I mean, it's a cool concept, but I never was really fond of that.
Well, that's I remember reading about the fabled producer's cut, like when I was like 18, and then that's what made me want to make the first Black Sun movie, just taking the cult factor to it and just doing whatever.
When Loomis has the cult thing on his hand at the end.
Ah!
I hate that with a passion.
I don't want to scream too loud, but it was like, ah! Yeah.
No, the best Halloween moment, though, out of any Halloween moment, I think it's the end of 4, where Loomis walks into the house and he sees,
No!
Yeah, the no heard across the world. He goes,
No!
No!
He starts crying.
The funny thing is, though, he points his gun at her, right? And then the cop comes in. He knocks the gun out of Loomis's hand, but then points his gun at the... Why did he do that? It's so ridiculous.
Oh, God. And then...
If there aren't enough reasons to be a fly on the wall for something, right?
Oh yeah. But what's confusing with me is you have H2O, which is a sequel. Did they ever say which one is it a sequel to? Halloween 2 or the first one? Because that's what I always got confused
I
about.
believe it's a sequel to Halloween 2, and that's kind of what we're getting again. So like, what is this? H4O? Like,
no,
what
it's
is this?
it's a sequel to the first one. It's disregarding everything, which is okay. I'll
But 2 was great.
Yeah, I love 2. I'll you know why? I purposefully think, this is my point of view, is John Carpenter decided when he was writing Halloween 2, he got writer's block, and he said that he drank one night and just created the brother sister thing, and he's regretted it since. And I think this is his way of going back to it and being like, hey, I want to make a sequel and just get rid of the brother sister thing. That's what they've been saying. It's just he just finds her again and just goes to kill her.
I mean, I'm intrigued to see where they're gonna go with it. I'm hoping it's good. I mean, Carpenter is involved a lot with this, so it should be good. You know what I mean? But like, again, like, I don't like remakes. I don't like rehashes, and I definitely don't like alt sequels. I think that's the stupidest thing in creation. It's just, in my opinion, it's a cash cow. It's a and I'm surprised Carpenter would even do that, because he's one to be opposed to like remakes and stuff like that. But we'll see.
He did well. He's opposed to remakes, but he did do The Thing.
True, this is true, but The Thing is levels beyond better than the original Thing that came from outer space or whatever it was called.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's one of my influences and stuff, and your influences.
Yeah, 100%.
But did you ever think of making a Halloween movie just for fun, or just like? Because I kind of did, but.
I know you did. I know you made an attempt at one. I
did.
never really wanted to make a Halloween movie per se, because again, I don't want to touch something that I think is a masterpiece or a work of art. I just wanted to make some type of slasher film.
So getting back to our filmmaking projects. When did you?
Hell, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
I actually did make a joke.
There we go.
A joke parody of Halloween 1 that we took the trailer from the original Halloween 1 and we did like a shot-for-shot remake. It was just for fun.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. It was funny. You jogged my memory about like a parody. In 5th, 6th grade, or somehow, I wanted to make a Halloween movie, like a parody of it, where you had the real killer, which was Michael Myers, and then you had another killer, but you know how the mask is frowning?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to like be like Scream, where like the other killer has like a smile, Michael Myers mask, and it was going to be called like Halloweeny. Halloweeny, yeah, which it was.
Good thing they didn't come out with that.
Oh yeah, well, at the rate that they came out with all those parody movies, I'm
like
surprised
Scary Movie.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't. But
I think it's brilliant.
Did you know that Scream's original title was Scary Movie?
Yeah.
I always thought that was pretty cool. That was the
I thought
title.
that was scary. I love Scary Movie. The first two were really good. The third one's okay.
We're gonna have to call Christian out on the fact that he likes scary movies for the few times that we've actually watched scary movies with you. Chris, would you like to elaborate a little bit about some of the movies that we've seen, and then Christian's just like, oh my god, I'm afraid.
Oh, Veronica?
Oh, you're saying like you're an actual fear of Scary Movie,
Yes.
not the movie Scary Movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how someone who would want to be involved with horror be afraid of horror films, but
like Veronica.
Yeah, we watched Veronica recently. I didn't think it was that great.
I didn't think it was
this
that
kid
good,
was
yeah.
petrified going in.
I was petrified going in, but then like 30 minutes in, I'm like, this is supposed to be scary. Like it did affect me a little bit because the tension was pretty good, but not like, oh my god, I have to turn this off like an hour in. Like
you got freaked out by the naked guy or whatever.
I heard a lot of people did. I was laughing at that part. I thought it was so stupid.
Out by the naked guy. But
Veronica, though, the cool thing about that is that it's like loosely based or based on a true story. So that's something that's really cool.
They had the pictures at the end of it, which
that was actually the coolest part. That was the creepiest part was the pictures at the end.
The creepiest part. It actually looked. I was like, what the hell?
But I think Christian was watching it with his eyes closed like half the movie.
Yeah, no.
Jerry was holding it.
I think you confused me with Jerry, where Jerry just falls asleep.
You know, the lights went out, and then I just suddenly go to Christian. I'm just like, take my strong hand.
Yeah. But so what made you want to become a filmmaker?
Jeez, well,
that's a loaded question.
That's a big question, but it's a good question. So basically, when I was young, I used to put on little shows for my grandparents, my grandmother especially. I would play with like toys, like marionettes and stuff like that, and like put on like little theater, like mini kiddie theater pieces and stuff like that. And my grandmother was like, "One day you're gonna be a great director like Steven Spielberg," and like that kind of just resonated with me for some reason to this day. And after that, sky was the limit. I definitely would say, I know it's kind of a typical answer, but Jaws was definitely a huge influence on me wanting to make movies, because like that movie blew me away. As a kid, I used to watch it over and over and over and over and over and over on loop, and I just...
My dad was the same way for some reason. Every time, like, I would just hang out with him and my sister, we would just have it on nonchalantly, any channel that he could find it on.
Wow. Yeah, my dad too. It is a masterpiece. I know for me, it's a really weird story about how I wanted to be a filmmaker. Was that I was in the movie theater. I was like 4, and I was with my mom, and we were watching Star Trek Generations.
Oh my God, it's a terrible movie.
And to me, it's sacred.
No, I know you're a Star Trek fan. I understand.
But so for me, it was I
Why?
sat there.
I have to cut you off though.
Okay.
Star Trek Generations. So they have Captain Kirk, right?
Yeah.
Captain Kirk that was on the show for 30 years or whatever the hell. He's in Generations, right?
Yeah.
And they fight Malcolm McDowell over the rocket or whatever the hell, the
Yeah.
space ribbon plot,
Yeah.
right? So Captain Kirk is killed in the process, right?
Yeah.
And instead of having like a ceremony or a burial or like taking Captain Kirk to like the ship, because it's Captain fucking Kirk, they just bury him, and Picard puts like a little rock over his head and is like, okay, goodbye, and just leaves and beams out of it. You think he'd be like, I have the body of Captain Kirk. Like, that movie's so ridiculous. Even for you, a Star Trek fan, you can't agree?
I never said it was a good movie. But as a kid, I asked my mom. I was like, hey, how do you make stuff like this? I said, well, there's the director, and the director does it. And I'm like, oh, well, I want to do that. But not to nerd out for a little bit, but there is Shatner actually wrote his own Star Trek universe of books, and he actually gets resurrected in one of the books. And he
I
comes
thought you were
back.
going to say...
You and your books and your novels, I'm saying
no.
it doesn't count. The movie, from watching the movie, that's how Captain Kirk died.
I know.
That's on the same level as like a B episode. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. So...
God.
So what were the other projects that you did before Last Laugh?
I mean, I've done a ton of different projects. One of my biggest ones was a film called The Broken. It was a 7-day film challenge through The Ultimate Filmmaker, and my team was Team Guerrilla Revolution, and I basically built the team, and I was initially gonna direct and write that film, and that's what I wanted to do, but we kind of had creative differences, me and some of the people on the team, so I stepped down and just stayed a producer. But I told them when I constructed the team, I was like, because a lot of them have done the competition so many times, they're like, oh, we never won. I was like, we're gonna win. I guarantee you, we're gonna win, because I'm involved. and they were like, okay, hopefully. And lo and behold, we won. And I was like, I told you, even though I had to step down as a producer. But the script that I wrote for that, I changed it a little bit because I still wanted to do that script, and I made it into another film called Affliction of the Heart, which is actually on Vimeo. It's like a action drama. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting piece. But yeah, so that was that's like 2013, 14, and I've done a whole bunch of different little things, producing like all over the place. A lot of producer work.
Do you feel like as a filmmaker, year after year, when you're working on projects, let's say if you were to do a film in 2016 and then you saw your most recent work like 2017, don't you feel like there's such a dramatic difference in your like experience and your skill set?
No, absolutely, 100%. Every time I look back, I'm like, oh man, this is a piece of shit. I could have did this so much better. You're always striving to become better than you were on your next. I think each film is a test for the next film, basically. And like even with Last Laugh, I love the film. I think it's gonna be a great film, but there's so much room for improvement. I learned a lot of things on set, being hands on, and I look forward to the future. But absolutely, I think after every project, you definitely advance to the next level.
Yeah, that's everything. It's failure is the greatest teacher, I guess. That's what I heard. But
it makes you want to strive harder, push harder,
Like I know with me, like Jerry knows this. When we were running around with Black Sun, showing it across the tri-state area. I was never in the room because I heard everything. I was like, oh, there's that noise, there's that. There was that moment, and I just didn't want to be in it. And I walked back in during the credits, which got like a standing ovation. But like I just didn't. I didn't want. I just don't like. Do you like watching?
That's why I had to stand.
Do you like watching your stuff?
I mean, I like watching it the first like
I mean,
200 times, and then after that, yeah, I'm tired of it.
I mean, but, with an audience when it's done. When it's
no,
done.
I mean that's what we're doing this for, right? Like we want a reaction. Like that's why I'm a filmmaker. Like I create stories that I want people to see, and I want to get a reaction, whether it's good or bad. I want to hear a laugh, a cry, or something. So, I definitely do enjoy the screening. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same token, I do agree with you as well. I'm crazy OCD, and I notice every little tiny thing. If something is off, oh, there's this little continuity thing, and it drives me crazy. But you know, again, it's we do this so we can improve for the next film. You know, this film that's gonna come out last life. It's definitely not the most perfect film in the world, but it's a great film, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. And then once it's done, I'll move to the next project and make that even better than the last.
My philosophy is always, and I always used to say this to people when they would say sometimes some of my stuff was bad or whatever, I'd be like, well, I want to see you sit there, write a script, get a budget, gather a crew, oversee it, be stressed for weeks and months.
Making a film is hard. It's not easy. A lot of people don't realize the time and effort and hours that it takes to complete something. Even if it is a 5-minute, 10-minute short. Like it's stressful, especially if you're writing it, you're producing it, directing it. Because nowadays, we kind of have to. We don't have the advantages to have a major studio to back us. But it's a difficult process. A lot of people can't hack it. But I commend anybody out there who's a filmmaker.
I always made the joke. What was the joke on Black Sun that we were having the baby because it took us 9 months?
Oh yes.
I always made a joke.
Like
I said we started. We started in November of 2013 and we finished shooting in August, and it was like 9 months. And I said, well, we were pregnant and we had a baby.
And you had a son.
Yeah, well, there you go, Black Sun.
That's great. You guys are lucky. 9 months is not bad at all. I've been sitting on this damn film for 2 years now, so it's been painful. But thankfully, we're finally in post production.
My OCD anal likes to be efficient, so I get very anal. Like you, I get very anal about stuff. Speaking of upcoming projects. Like we talked about your satanic mingle, but the big one that everybody's been asking me about for the last 3 damn years is finally getting off the ground. It's no surprises. The next project we're doing, which is the untitled Guerrilla project, which people have been asking me, is it a Black Sun sequel? I'm about obliged to say, right? But
yeah, well, I don't know how much information you want to give right now, but it's going. We're in the second draft, and I'm looking forward to getting this new project out. I think it's going to be great.
Me and Jerry, of course, we're producing it.
Yes.
I'm co-directing with you, of course.
Our release is going to be your 2008 film for Black Sun. So the original one, that's our new release for this.
Oh, no, that would be like the before stuff where it's like, look at where we came. I came like 2 other movies.
Yeah, I'm excited that Guerrilla and Caputo Collective are going to be joining forces to make this film.
Yeah, me too.
And I think you guys are going to be very excited to see this film because it's going to be awesome.
Well, what do you feel comfortable saying about it that you don't want to give too much information out? Because I don't. Me too. It's like I don't want to give too much out, but it's like what do you think we would feel comfortable talking
Well,
about?
It's going to be scary.
Oh yeah. Well.
It's going to be another horror film. We'll say that much.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I don't know.
Your eyes closed.
I don't know how much you want to reveal. I don't really want to say
too
much.
I don't want to reveal much.
It's definitely. I'll say this. It's definitely going to be a thriller.
But we're looking to shoot this summer. At the end of the summer.
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying to start by the end of August or early September. We're gonna go into production.
Hopefully, it'll come out next year, end of next year, whenever it decides to come out, it'll come out. But yeah.
I like it.
But anything else you want to plug or plug your Facebook website, something?
You can check some of my stuff out on Vimeo under Guerrilla Revolution under People. You can check out the 2 last laugh trailers, and soon, as Christian mentioned earlier, we're gonna launch the Satanist Mingle parody, which is like a satire on like Tinder and dating and stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting, and
I need a new app in my life. How much would it cost a month?
Prices may vary.
just your soul, Jerry. That's how much it costs.
Not a
Yeah,
big-
yeah.
Just your soul. Just your soul.
Where's the contract?
Yeah, but thanks.
It's in blood.
But thanks for coming, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So check out Chris, his stuff on Facebook, Vimeo. Just find him. Just find him on. There you go. It's always fun talking to Chris.
He's something else.
We'll have him on the podcast again when his film comes out.
Yes.
And we'll have him again in October when the new Halloween movie comes out. So him and me so I can fanboy and he can tell me why I'm wrong.
Most importantly.
Oh yeah. So it was great. I want everybody to go on Facebook and like The Last Laugh
Please do.
and like Guerrilla Revolutions.
And make sure it's your last laugh as well.
He is he's a great friend. He's going to be directing my film that's coming out. We're co-directing, he's directing. We haven't decided yet. He's going to be directing the next film that we're doing, The Black Sun. We don't know what it is yet. We haven't titled it yet, so it's the untitled Black Sun film.
As long as I don't get my hands on it, I'm sure he's going to do a great job.
So next week's episode, we're going to be, speaking of Black Sun, next week's episode, we're going to be doing something different where we're going to have Ian Eustick on, who you heard in the first episode. And him, me, and Jerry are going to dissect the Black Sun film. We're going to go through the development, how we met, and we're going to go through to where we are now, and then we're going to have a watch along.
Yes.
Which we did that already with the magic of editing and being able to do
But
this.
it's always better a second time.
But I just want to say that you don't want to miss it because there's some shenanigans going on. Ian and I laughing for like 10 minutes, trying not to trying to watch the film, laughing, going off on tangents about stuff, talking about locations. It's a great story. I encourage everybody to listen to it. That's going to drop on the next episode at this point from 2 weeks from now.
Beautiful.
So yeah, find us on Instagram at Caputo Collective. Find us on Facebook, Caputo Collective Productions, and the Collective Podcast on Facebook. Patreon, Caputo Collective. Twitter, Caputo Collective. And I think that's everything. Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to plug something, Jerry? Or
I think you just explained everything so well. You are a wonderful promoter. I'm going to pass the torch to you.
All right.
On all the promotions.
Ow, the torch is hot.
Yes.
It burns. But so
Burn,
yeah.
baby,
So,
burn.
burn, baby, burn. So now so everybody have a great weekend if you're listening to this on Friday. If you're not listening to it and you listen to it later, just have a great week and a great day, and I will see you next time on the Collective Podcast.
Love you.